And I knew that there were a lot of things that needed to change to bring Detroit back to its greatness. And I also knew that I couldn't do that by myself, and I also knew that I couldn't do that in a short time span. So as I got into the office, and this is a true story, I was elected on May 5th, and my first day of work was May 9th. And coming from, and Shane can relate with this, because the industry that he's in and I was in, it's 24/7, and you're on call all the time. I'm an early riser. I get into the office relatively early, and the first day on the 9th, as I went into the office, nobody else was there. And I kind of looked around because I wasn't sure where the coffee was. And so I walked around and found out where the kitchen was and went and made some coffee. And I think I spoiled some of the people, because now I think the idea is I'm supposed to make coffee every day. But I asked, well, what time do you start here? And it was 8:30. I said, well, where I come from, we've worked almost a half a day. So we are going to have to change our starting time. And I'll tell you, the biggest challenge that I had was a mindset and a culture change. Because I think people got conditioned over time to doing things the same way and were never challenged to do something different. And I said the reason we are where we are is because we have continued to do things the same way. It doesn't work. So let's do it differently. So I changed the starting time as just as a beginning. I said, all right, you don't have to get in as early as me, but at least you got to be here by 8 o'clock. And in my first week, as I walked around the offices, by 4 or 4:30, people were cleaning up their desks, ready to go home. I had asked the other question, well, what time do you, I didn't say stop work, what time do you leave? Well, we're supposed to leave at 5. So, well, it's 4 o'clock, what are you doing? Well, we're just cleaning up. So we had to change that. So now we stay and work until 6 o'clock. And so now the mindset has started to change, and so, at least on the 11th floor where I am. And I think the culture change is starting to get pushed down in the organization, because I can see a change. And it's an ongoing process, and people are starting to be a little more receptive. The other thing that was missing was accountability. Nobody felt that they was accountable to anybody. So as I went through the organization making the necessary personnel changes, because as Jack said, any of us in life, you as business folks, and we as politicians, and I don't consider myself one yet, we can't do it alone. You got to build a team. And my first career, that's my background. It was team sports. And you may have been the outstanding player, the high scorer or whatever, the star of the team or whatever. But I've always respected my teammates for what they brought to the table, because in my career as an athlete, I knew that I could score. But somebody had to pass me the ball at the right time. Or somebody had to set a pick so I could get open and get the easy shot. Or somebody had to clean up for the mistake that I made defensively. So I think that first career truly taught me how important teamwork was, how important it is to get the right people around you. And coming in as a novice into public office, I didn't know what I had. And over a short period of time, there were decisions that had to be made on people. And I wasn't afraid to make the changes that I thought needed to be made for upgrades. And I did that. And then you get criticized where the media says, well, why is your turnover so great? Well, you want me to keep the same people doing the same thing that got us where we are. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So Today, I feel very, very comfortable that we have put together an extraordinary team, and we are working well together. Nobody's worried about getting credit for anything. It's not about me, it's not about I, it's about us, it's about we. And we do it together, and I think we're doing it well at this point. I don't think you'll ever satisfy critics. And having played for the Pistons in the early years, I've been criticized a lot, so what I do right now doesn't concern me that much. Everybody who's on the outside think they know the answers. Everybody on the outside think they can do a better job. And I often say to people as they are criticizing, or even constructive criticism, have you ever worked in city government? And the answer is no. Well, if you haven't been there, I can surely tell you, you have no idea what it's like. On most days, you do feel like, you're on an island somewhere, because the expectations of the population is such that you're supposed to fix everything and fix it today. Well, Detroit went 40 years without a lot of things being fixed. And with this administration, I think the expectation is that we're to fix things and fix them as fast as possible. Major problem that we have is that we don't have the resources, either from a financial standpoint or from a human standpoint, to get things done the right way and doing it expeditiously. So there are problems. But what I think this administration has done is not shy away from our problems. We are not putting our head in the sand and saying this problem will soon go away. No, it has to be fixed. So you got to get down to the fundamental things, the basic things. Somebody asked me to do an analogy between sports and politics now. And so what's the difference? Everybody gets all hyped up about the NBA right now in terms of what's happening in the championship series. And says, we didn't have the three-point shot when you played. That's dating me, but we didn't have it. So my position and my theory is this. When you come out on the court, the first thing that you do as a team is you get up, you run, you loosen up, you make layups. Then you go to the free throw line, you make free throws. Then you go out a little farther and you take your shots. And everybody today wants to go out as far as they can and start with a three-point shot. And I think that's altogether wrong. Because you're not going to make a lot of those. Percentages are very low. I said, if I could get all layups, I'd take all layups. To hell with the 3 points. Because now I know I'm going to move forward. I'm going to score. And in politics, there are a lot of, the analogy works in politics. Let me talk very briefly about just the 3 or 4 things that we as an administration and as a city need to focus on. And one of the things that we're looking at is what is it going to take to transform the city of Detroit? Because we have to have a true transformation. There are so many systems, so many policies, so many procedures that are outdated or broken, don't work. Let's find out what they are. You were doing things 50 years ago that may have worked then, but they don't work today. And so we got to change it. We have to adapt. And it takes time.